Okay. Sound check. Sound check. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully you had a chance to say hi. And you can start sitting in a chair if you like. If you are, you're going to be sitting on the edge of the seat with your feet directly underneath of your knees and an upright posture. You could also be sitting on the floor today. And if you're doing that, then you're sitting on the edge of your blanket and you're having those hips come a little bit forward, legs in a comfortable position, hands on the knees or the thighs. I'm going to roll those shoulders up and away from the ears. Keeping the chest nice and lifted, we'll drop the nose a little bit toward the floor. Eyes can be closed or soft. You can allow the face to soften. And releasing with your exhale. Releasing anything that you don't need for practice. Starting to bring the awareness a little deeper into the body. And being present with what you observe, with what arises in the body. Try to not label or judge the sensations, just observing them as they are. And then as you observe the qualities within the body, notice if there are any that feel a little out of balance. And if you find those areas, try to invite the opposite energies to those regions in the body. You draw those energies in through with your inhale. So for example, if you're feeling pretty tired and heavy and a strong connection to the parts of the body that are touching the earth, then perhaps with your inhale you draw in energies from above, a light energy, a spacious energy, and draw those energies into those parts that feel connected with the earth in order to release some of the tension there. Or perhaps you feel already too light up in the brain and have trouble feeling any sort of connection to earth. Very much thought focused, brain focused, head focused. In that case, you can draw in energies from down below, from the earth. Drawing in with your inhale, drawing up from the earth, a grounding, solid energy. All the way up into the head, circling back down through the feet or the parts of the body connected with earth. And focusing on these opposing energies, the opposites, start to bring the body a little closer to balance. And this can be for any kind of energy that you're feeling. Too much spaciousness, find the energies of solidity. Too much heat, find the energies where it's cool. Ayurveda teaches us that it's only the opposite forces that can correct an imbalance. Eventually moving the body to a state of equilibrium. Never solid, never stable. Just moving around that place of balance. Just like when you're balancing, when you're standing. Always a little bit of movement. And then starting to let go of that practice and coming back to the sensation of breathing. On your next inhale, slowly open the eyes and come back into your space. All right, let's start with a side bend. If you're on the floor, you'll bring your left hand down. If you're on a chair, you can hold the side of the chair. Take your right hand up and over. On an inhale, we'll come on back up and over to the other side. And on the inhale, we'll come on back up from there. We'll take the hands back by the hips so you can hold onto the back of the chair. And tip that pelvic bone forward and lift the center of the chest up toward the ceiling. Shoulder blades draw together and down. So you're coming into a little bit of a back bend. And if it feels too strong, then just focus on lifting straight up rather than arching. But if it feels okay, you could even look up or maybe back behind. And on inhale, we'll come on back up to center. Going to interlace the fingers. Let's press those hands forward and then up and over the head. Elbows straight, jaw soft, neck is soft. then we'll bring the hands back down. I'm going to change the interlace of the fingers and then press forward and up and over the head. And then we'll bring the hands back down and release. I'm going to keep the shoulders back and down. I'm going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder, toward the right shoulder. So I'm going to start to feel the side of the neck lengthen out. You could release that hand, your left hand, even down to the floor or the chair. Now your right hand, you're going to pick up and place the side of the head. So just giving a little bit more weight, not pulling hard. Trying to keep this left shoulder soft, working down toward the floor. And then keeping the head down, I'm going to release the right hand, but now we're going to turn the nose up toward the ceiling. So this is going to get right in the front of the side of the neck. And then we're going to turn your nose down to look over your right shoulder. Now just go to where your stopping place is. So it's like you're trying to see your right fingers down on the floor or the chair. I'm just turning to look at as far as you can over that shoulder. And then we'll unwind the twist in the neck and then lift the head back up to center. Okay, I'm going to try the other side. So now right shoulder stays down. You'll drop your ear to your left ear towards your left shoulder. Trying to keep this right side soft. We'll pick up the left hand now, placing it on the side of the head. So you're just giving a little bit more weight, not a hard pulling. And then we'll release that left hand, keeping your ear still down toward your shoulder. I'm going to turn the nose up toward the ceiling, so that front side of the neck. And then still keeping the ear down, I'm going to turn now to look over your left shoulder. You're going to go as far as is comfortable. You might be able to see your hand, you might be able to see a little bit behind your left shoulder. And then we'll release the twist and bring the head back up to center. I'm going to do a couple of circles here. Drop the nose down toward the floor and then circling with the nose all the way around. I'm going to release the neck. Let's do 2 times all the way around. Once you've finished your second round and you're at that starting place, we're going to go the other direction. 2 rounds in that direction, all the way around. And when you've completed that round, coming back to the center, we'll pause there and then lift the head. All right, let's do a little for the shoulders. We'll take the hands to the shoulders and circle at the elbows. Nice big circles. Nice, smooth, deep breathing. And then we'll pause there and circle the other way. Big circles with elbows. And then we'll release the hands. All right, we're going to come all the way up to standing. So if you're on the chair, you'll come on up. If you're on the floor, just take your time. Work your way all the way up to standing. We're going to clear anything that might be on your mat. Get the body moving here. So we're going to stand in Tadasana. So feet are hip distance apart. Tadasana mountain pose. Sometimes referred to as samstiti. That's kind of an older term. Most of the time is Tadasana. Mean the same thing. We're going to engage the muscles of the legs. We're going to tone the muscles of the legs. We're pulling into the core. So that doesn't mean a hard gripping. It just means a toning, a support. Engaging the abdominals, shoulders back. I'm going to soften the eyes and notice how you're balancing. We're balancing here, standing on 2 feet. You might even be able to close your eyes completely. Notice how your breathing affects your balance. See if you can engage the muscles of the feet to help you with maintaining the balance across the sole of the foot and the center, your plumb line, the center of the body. So if you're noticing that you're going more into your toes or more into your heels, see if you can come right in the center, balancing between those two, front and back. Even with the breath moving in the body. And left side, right side. Left and right sides of each foot, but also left foot, right foot. Finding that center of the body. The center of your balance. With your eyes still closed or soft, we're going to take the palms out and up toward the ceiling and slowly start to bring your hands up, and we'll pause with the arms straight out from your shoulders, elbows straight, palms up toward the ceiling. How does this shift the balance in the body? Again, your eyes could be mostly closed or completely closed. And then I'm going to slowly start to bring the hands a little higher over your head, elbows still straight. Eventually pausing with the hands shoulder width apart, straight up toward the ceiling, and the shoulders dropping down toward the floor. How does this change the balance in the body? And then if you still have a little more here, you can bring your hands together. Try to keep your elbows straight. And I'm going to tip the top upper body toward the right, crescent pose to the right, keeping the eyes either closed or mostly closed. And I'd like you to root into your left foot. So I'm going to lengthen that whole side. So again, we're still trying to feel the balance in the body. On an inhale, we're going to come back up through center and crescent pose to the other side. Again, with the eyes still soft or closed, really sensing and feeling what has to compensate for the upper body weight off to the side. How do we maintain balance in the body? On an inhale, we'll come back up to center. And now you can release your hands. We're going to bring them to your lower back. Draw your shoulders back. With the eyes still soft or closed. You're going to take the tailbone forward and lift the chest up toward the ceiling, coming in a little bit of a back bend. And if you are coming into a back bend, then you can take those hips a little bit more forward. Engage the muscles of the legs, really sensing all the way down into your feet what has to compensate as the body comes into a back bend. On an inhale, we're going to come on back up to standing. And now open the eyes. Engage the muscles of the legs and come into a forward bend. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Try to keep the eyes open. Don't let them close as the head comes down. And then I'm going to take a slight bend of the knees and abdominals in. I'm going to come on back up to standing. And bring the hands to the hips and bend the knees. Coming down here in a half chair pose. Engage the feet and legs. Tailbone toward the floor. Half chair pose. So what are we practicing here? We're practicing coming into balance. So anytime we're standing or we're looking up or we're in back bends and side bends while standing, very often our eyes are open and we're focused on what is above. We lose the connection in the body about what is going on in the feet, in the legs. Our sense of balance might get off because we're so up in the air. Likewise, also when we are in a forward bend, very often the eyes close automatically. It's like an indicator that the mind needs to quiet because now our focus is down on the earth. But then we can lose the energy of the posture and often feel tired or heavy. So by compensating, keeping your eyes open when you forward bend or closed when you're reaching up is a way of coming back into balance if you feel you've got too much of one or the other energy. All right, I made you hold this for a while. We're going to go ahead and straighten those knees. With your hands on the hips, I'm going to circle, hula hooping. So maybe you noticed that when you were looking up, that you had your eyes closed. Maybe it's a different feel. Maybe you felt things in those postures that you just didn't notice before. So just by practicing a simple thing of keeping your eyes open or keeping your eyes closed, you can change the experience of a posture that you've done a lot. And just opening, it helps to, is that practice of opening the awareness to the energies that are going on at all times in the body. All right, I'm going to pause here and circle the other way, hula hooping, release the back. And then we'll come on back to center. And I'm going to take that right foot forward, left foot back. I'm going to square the hips for warrior one, Virjandrasana one. Bend your front knee over the ankle, tailbone down toward the floor. If you're okay here, you can take your arms up overhead. So today's practice is about finding what's out of balance and drawing in that opposite energy. Help correct. You can do that with intention, with breath, with simple things like closing the eyes or softening the face, or engaging the muscles of the feet connected with the earth. All these different tools that we have at our disposal to bring balance and harmony back into the body. First we recognize that it's out of balance, and then we work to try to bring it back into balance. From here, we're going to bring the palms together, the center of the heart, root into your back foot and lean forward. I'm going to open the chest now toward the right, revolve side angle pose. So how do you know when you might be out of balance while you're in a posture here? A good indicator are the eyeballs. If you feel like your eyes are wide and you're looking forward and you have a lot of energy in the face, that's one indicator. Indicator that there might be too much vata energy in the body. Try to soften the face if that's you. If instead you don't have a lot of focus and you're looking at the floor and around, maybe finding that connection with the energy of the legs. On an inhale, I'm going to unwind, coming back into our warrior one. And from here, I'm going to come into a pyramid pose. I'm going to straighten the front leg. You can bring your hands to your hips here and come forward. Now you can stop at any point. You may have your hand on a chair if you need that little bit of balance. You might be able to come down to blocks at any height. And you may also be able to come all the way down with fingertips on the floor. It really doesn't matter. Just that you feel both legs are straight. You feel that stretch in the right side. You keep the right hip drawing back behind and the right foot active on the floor. Pyramid pose here. Again, it's a balancing. You might feel, if you're feeling unstable, use a prop, use your chair, use a wall. Use what you need to here. Keeping that breath flowing and really opening to what is going on. How are my energies balanced now? Recognizing and remembering that there's never a stable place. It's not like it's going to stay in that one location. It's going to move, it's going to oscillate. But when that balance is too far to one side or another, that's when we can encourage it to come back to center with these tricks. All right, engaging the muscles around the right knee. I'm going to bend that knee with control. Come on back up to your warrior one, strong in the legs. Breath in the body. Warrior one. And then we'll release the arms. Step the feet together. We're going to come on into the other side, warrior one on the other side, left foot forward, right foot back, square the hips, tailbone down, front knee bends, strong in the legs, all those things. And when you're ready, if you want, you can have your hands over your head. So remembering, it's not a judgment about where you are in the posture. Like, oh, I feel so unstable. That's not what we're going for. It's more of identifying what might be out of balance and what can I draw into the body to help me feel more stable. So if you're feeling like you don't have a lot of control here, connect with feet, connect with legs, tone, connect with earth. If you're feeling pretty solid, then what about that expansive energy in the body? Anusara Yoga talks about muscular energy and the balance of organic expression. So perhaps that's the two that we're focusing on. going to bring the hands together at the heart. Rooting into your back foot, we're going to lean forward and then open here to the left side. Revolve side angle pose. And on an inhale, we're going to unwind and come back to the warrior one. So besides just physical sensations, it's also what may be bouncing around in the mind. What's the nature of the thoughts in the mind? Not just what are they saying, but what's the energy of the thoughts in the mind? These are all things that we can start to be inquisitive about. Start to find, what can we control here? What can we release here? And come into pyramid pose from here. You can release your hands down to your hips. Straighten your front leg. Both legs strong, both legs straight. And come on down. Again, you could have your hands now on a chair. You might bring them all the way down to blocks. You might come all the way down to your fingertips. I want you to feel solid, but also want you to feel those legs engaging. Active feet, active legs. Pyramid pose. And engaging the muscles around the left knee. I'm going to bend that knee with control. Come on back up to warrior one. And then you can release the arms, step the feet together. All right, one more standing pose here. We're going to come into a standing wide leg forward bend. So if you want to block or even the seat of a chair, you can use that right in the center. You're going to be turning so that you have your feet on your mat. So you might have to turn around if you only have one mat. And take your feet wide. Then your support, block, or chair is directly in front of you. And you want to go to a place that really does feel wide. Doesn't feel like it's narrow. Feels like you are extending both legs. You're going to turn your heels out, toes in. So we're not so wide that you feel a strain on the inner thigh. We're not going for that. Still going for a place that feels controlled, but definitely wide. Active feet. Activate your feet and even try lifting your toes. So if you lift your toes and you found, whoa, wait, I lost my stability, that means your feet are not engaging as much as we're going for here. So you should be able to lift your toes and feel the muscles of the feet working to balance between big toe mound, little toe mound. And also supporting your ankle. Supporting the ankle, supporting the knee, engaging the leg muscles. Try to keep that tone and soften your toes back down. So if you find you immediately grip your toes, try to use less toe, more foot. From here, I'm going to engage those leg muscles, lifting the tailbone up toward the ceiling and start to drop the upper body down. Go slow. So as you do that, you'll notice what you have to do again to maintain balance. Remember our practice before with the eyes closed? What do you have to do to maintain balance as you slowly drop the upper body down? Releasing your hands to your support, but try to not collapse onto your support. So you're bringing your hands down, but keep that engagement in the legs. The legs are balancing here. The tone in the legs are what allows you to come forward, just like when we were standing and doing crescent pose. Standing wide leg forward bend. You might even find that over time you can start to drop a little bit lower. Just don't lose that connection with feet and legs and supporting your joints. And from here, we're going to come into a twist. So if you're using a block, you can move your right block in right underneath of your nose. If you're using your hand on a chair, just move it to the center of your right hand to the center of the chair. From here, you're going to take your left hand up towards the ceiling. So you're going to twist around the spine to try to lengthen. Tailbone the top of the head, opening the chest. On the inhale, I'm going to unwind the twist and switch hands. So now left hand stays down, right hand comes up, opening to the other side. Unwind the twist, coming back to center. I'm going to take a slight bend to the knees, abdominals in, I'm going to come on up. Now you can release your feet, maybe heel toe your feet together, step your feet together. We're going to work our way down to the floor now. We're going to come onto hands and knees. So knees below the hips, hands below the shoulders. From here, we'll do a little bit of cat-cow. Tailbone up, chest up on your inhale. Exhale, draw the abdominals in, tailbone down toward the floor, arch the back. Cat pose. Move back and forth here, cat-cow. And the next time that you come into cat pose with the arched back, I'm going to take your hips to your heels in prayer pose. And if you need to, you can take your knees wide. We'll walk those hands a little bit more forward, lengthening out the arms, elbows straight. From here, I'm going to lift the head, walk your hands back, and try to sit on your feet in hero pose. Now, if this isn't working for you, you can grab a hold of a block and place the block between the feet and try to sit on that. You might even need two blocks. If you can, though, if you can sit on your feet here, I'm going to try to bring your knees in so that they're wide. I'm going to try and bring them back right next to each other. Sitting on your feet or on your blocks in hero pose. So in hero pose, hopefully, one other thing, if your knees are bothering you here, you can lift up and try to draw your calf muscle away. That'll take some of the tension off the back of the knees. Okay, so here in hero pose, your pelvic bone tips forward, again, giving you that arch in your lower back, not strongly, just enough to keep an upright posture, shoulders back and down. Hands can rest on the thighs here, chest open. You're going to bring your nose in line with the floor and draw your ears back by your shoulders. So we're not looking up or down, feeling that balance in the body. And from here, you're going to slip your hands back to your lower back. Draw your shoulders back and down, chest opening a little more. That pelvic bone is going to tip a little more now, so it's like you're taking your tailbone behind, coming into a little bit of a back bend. Chest lifting straight up. And you might start to look up, you might start to look behind. Now, if you're low here and you're down on your feet and you're not on blocks, but you're low enough, you might slip your hands down to the floor and come into more of an arch and more of a back bend. But if you're sitting on a block, that's going to be too far down. Just work with the hands on the lower back. Draw the abdominals in. Come on back up. Then reverse here. Bring your hands down to the floor in front of you. And we're going to round. Starting to drop the head down toward the floor. Now again, if you're on a block, you're going to be kind of high. So just coming down to a place where you can feel the lower back lengthen out. If you are all the way down with your hips to your heels, you might come into full child's pose, releasing your hands back to your feet. I'm going to inhale, I'm going to release that and come on up. I'm going to slowly work our way to swinging your feet around and come into sitting. I'm going to sit on the floor. Bring your feet forward here. Now, actually, let's come on into a Baddha Konasana. Let's do one more Baddha Konasana. So you could bounce up onto a blanket if you have one convenient. You also don't need it. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. So if you are rounding the spine, you're going to try to take that pelvic bone forward and lengthen up. So it's more important to get that pelvic bone forward and lengthen the spine than it is to come forward any amount here. So if you're rounding, pelvic bone forward and lifting. Try to maintain that if you want. If you need a little more here, come on forward with length in the spine. So the further forward you come, the more that pelvic bone tips and the tailbone goes back behind you. On an inhale, we'll come on up from there. Draw your knees together. I'm going to come off a blanket if you're on it. I'm going to skip right on forward. So bring your hands back behind. Walk your feet forward so they are about hip distance apart. We're going to drop both knees to the left now. So your right knee will come in contact with your left foot. You're going to pick up your right hand and go in the same flow of motion as your knees. You're going to turn all the way around. Go as far as you like, walking both hands behind you. And then you can bend your elbows and start to take your nose down toward the floor. On an inhale, we'll unwind on that side. Coming back to your starting position, and drop both knees to the other side. Left knee now snuggles into the right foot. Left hand goes in the same direction as the knees, turning the chest toward the floor and coming down. going to inhale, unwind, and coming back to center. We're going to work our way back to sitting on a blanket. I'm going to draw the legs in some comfortable position. If this cross-legged doesn't work, you can have the legs extended. But if that's you to be here, make sure you have a little more height underneath your hips so that your pelvic bone can really come forward and you can maintain that upright posture and not round. So either way, legs in or legs straight, something that allows you to sit in the proud seat, as they call it. Proud seat. I'm going to draw your shoulders back and down, hands resting on your knees or thighs. Allow the eyes to soften or completely close. Drawing the awareness to your breath. Particularly your nostrils here, left side, right side nostril. How does the breathing feel on the two sides? Is one side more open than the other? Can we invite balance between the breath on the left side and right side? Drawing your awareness a little lower now, noticing how much of your diaphragm you're using for breathing, how much of your breath is chest breath, and how much of your breath is belly breathing, feeling the belly moving in and out. Inviting balance, equal breath between belly breathing and diaphragm breathing. And then letting go of any control over the breath. Expanding the awareness from the breath in the body out through the rest of the body, feeling the energies in balance. With your eyes still closed or soft, or bring the hands together at the heart. Drop your nose down now toward the floor. Remembering that at any time throughout your day, when you feel the energies are not in balance, mental, physical, emotional, heat, all the forms, remembering that you have a choice to make a change. Thank you all for coming and for having a yoga practice this morning with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.